watching on Facebook right this very second and you don't see the little live button up there in the corner, it means you're watching the replay. Please put hashtag replay in the comments for me. So we are going to continue this week with making arrangements for a wedding that's coming up. And so I purchased this candelabra from a yard sale for $3. And I thought that I would make a beautiful arrangement to go on a buffet table for this wedding. Now we're using faux flowers, but we're going to use fresh greenery and fresh baby's breath. And so I thought that I would make this with you guys because I don't know if I have ever done a candelabra arrangement. And I had someone ask about one not too long ago. So I thought that I would do this on the live. Now I do have a candle on the top. I don't know what you call that. The top of the candelabra. And I am actually going to put flowers on the four arms of this candelabra. So I thought that we would do that together. Now Victoria's here with me. So if you have any questions or comments, y'all talk to me. Ask me questions as we go along. It doesn't have to be necessarily about this flower arrangement. It can be about anything in the flower shop or anything, any questions you might have about how we do things here. You are welcome to ask. We would love to answer those questions. So I am going to start off with fresh floral foam. Now I told you we're using faux flowers, but we are going to use fresh greenery and fresh baby's breath because for me personally, I think that fresh baby's breath and fresh greenery really elevate a faux flower arrangement. Now I do want to apologize for so many faux flowers this week, but we have lots of wedding arrangements to do, so that's the reason you're going to see a good many faux arrangements. I'm going to start out with fresh floral foam that has been soaked in water. I am going to take them and trim them up, and we are just going to tape this little piece of foam right to the arm of this candelabra.
We have lots of hellos.
Hello everybody. So glad y'all are here.
Miss Julie says, hello sweet friends. More rain in Pennsylvania, but at least I'm feeling better.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Miss Julie. I'm so glad to hear you're feeling better.
Rhea asks, is that your candelabra?
It is, Rhea. So, you know, with this wedding, I love the fact that I can be creative when renting things. So when I'm doing, this has been a really fun wedding for us, strictly because I'm able to use my stuff because I'm getting it all back. And I love that. I never really knew how to pull that off before when I was doing fresh flowers, and so I love the idea of being able to use fun and interesting containers with my faux flowers because I'm going to pick it all up anyway, right? So I just took this fresh floral foam and I just set it right on top of each of the arms. So it has a really nice flat base. So you can put a taper candle in there. It does have a small hole for a taper candle, but it does have a flat base for a pillar type candle. So that's what I just placed my floral foam right on top of each of those flat pieces for the pillar candle. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to take some tape and I am going to tape that foam in place. Now I'm going to use clear tape and tape that foam in place. Now it's important, guys, that when you are working with flower arrangements that you make sure that your mechanics are well put together. And what I mean by that is you don't want this flower arrangement falling apart. So you want to be sure to tape that foam into place so it doesn't fall apart. God bless you. God bless you.
Miss Marianne says, no need to apologize. I'm here for the friendship and knowledge both. Over on YouTube, Miss D says hello. She says happy to see y'all live today.
Hello, Miss D. Hello.
Miss Shelley Easley says hi, ladies, and good afternoon to all. Love watching wedding work. You'll have such beautiful ideas.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's fun to be creative.
Oh, thank you, Miss Donna. She blessed me.
Did she bless you too?
Miss Margaret Lynch says hello.
Hey, Miss Margaret, how are you?
Miss Marianne says she's looking forward to the wedding work. Don Miller says your candelabra is beautiful.
Isn't this fun? $3 at a yard sale. And I was so excited. And my sister looks at me and she says, I don't know what you're going to do with that. I said, you just wait and see, Robbie. She was being all judgy on what I was buying at the yard sale. I think I spent like $27 and I got some brass candle holders. I got this piece. I got some lanterns, like outdoor, they were kind of a galvanized tin lanterns. I got 3 of those. What else did I get? I got a cross stitch. lots of treasures, but Robbie and Jason have to think that they need to tell me when and where I can buy my treasures from. But it's fun. I think this is going to be a really fun arrangement to be able to put together.
Angie Ham says this will be the wedding of the year. You do such incredible
work. You are too kind.
She says, can't wait to see it all complete for the big day. How sweet Mama and Daddy do. Praying for you and a quick recovery.
Thank you. Thank you, sweet friend. Mom and Daddy are doing well. I actually talked to Mama yesterday afternoon. I asked her how Daddy was doing. She said good. Robbie has gone to the beach this week, so I'm in charge. But Mom and Daddy are doing really good. And they haven't needed me yet, so I think we're doing good. All right. So these are the flowers. The colors that we are using are pinks and whites for this wedding. So I'm going to pull this candelabra over a little bit. So these are the colors. We're going to use some pinks and whites and lots of pretty greens. We're going to start out with our greenery first, though, because I feel like it'll give us our shape, and then we will come in with our flowers. So we're going to start out with some Italian ruscus. I love Italian ruscus. I don't use it a ton. For everyday work, I use it more for wedding work than I do everyday work. But it's really a pretty greenery.
Jennifer Cook on YouTube says hello from Auburn, Alabama.
Hello, friend. How are you?
Cindy Terrell says you wouldn't use chicken wire to keep the foam together.
I absolutely could. It is going to not be something, I'm going to deliver it, I'm going to set it up. So I really don't think, I'm not going to use tons and tons of flowers in it. But you absolutely could. To give it more stability, you could use chicken wire, absolutely.
With the foam as well?
With the foam, you would wrap the foam with chicken wire to give it some stability on that foam. But I'm not going to use tons and tons of stems in it, so I'm not really concerned. But as soon as I say that, it might all fall apart, and I might need that chicken wire. But that is a wonderful idea. Thank you.
Rhea says, if only we had yard sales here.
They are so fun, Rhea.
Miss Donna says, I love to watch and get all kinds of great new ideas. Even though I retired once in a while, I'll try to get my hands into it if somebody needs a funeral. And I have a very good flower friend that is a flower farmer. So I go up there
isn't
and
that
help her
fun? Speak of flower farmers, I spoke with Mary, my sweet friend who grows flowers, and she said her Lysianthus is almost ready, and said I needed to come out and see the Lysianthus growing. So I will do a video for you guys to show you Mary's Lysianthus growing.
Kathy Mitchell asks if those are real flowers.
This is real greenery. Those are faux flowers. So I like to use, when using faux flowers, I like to use fresh foliage so that it kind of elevates the faux flowers. And so this is fresh foliage to go in these arrangements.
Over on TikTok, Chuck says, I am a retired designer and you all are making me feel like I'm at the shop now.
So glad you're here, Chuck. Thank you for watching.
Royal Ribbon says hello everyone from Toronto, Canada.
Hello. So glad you're here.
Grammy, thank you for sharing our live video on TikTok. lots of questions, a couple people want to know, is that wet foam real flowers or artificial flowers?
Wet foam, yes. Fresh foliage, yes. Artificial flowers. Faux flowers. So we have begun to do weddings, and we do wedding rentals with faux flowers. And so this week we have kind of concentrated, yesterday's video and today's video we have done some of our wedding work, and we are renting these weddings. So you're getting a really beautiful wedding, but you are not paying the high price that you would for fresh blooms. Now, I am a fresh florist. I do fresh flowers, but we also do faux flowers for weddings, and we can do fresh flowers for weddings. I mean, we don't discriminate, but we just wanted to kind of shift gears and be able to offer weddings for a more reasonable price. And so we are able to do that using faux flowers as rentals, and we get all of the faux flowers back. So it works out really nice for both the bride and for us.
On YouTube, Amanda asks, do you use special floral foam for artificial arrangements or normal?
This is regular fresh floral foam. So it is soaked floral foam, like an Oasis brand floral foam that I have soaked in water. I find that this is just going to keep all of my greenery and my baby's breath fresh. So that's my reasoning behind using fresh floral foam. You can absolutely use faux foam if you want to, if you have faux greenery. I just find that for me personally, and it's because I have all the fresh flowers too, I just find using the fresh floral foam and fresh greenery is so much easier and so much more cost effective for us, because I have to use a lot of faux greenery if I was using artificial. So that's the reason we choose to use fresh greenery.
Joanna on YouTube says, hello, Monty and Victoria. What a neat idea to mix the two, fresh and faux. It looks more realistic than all faux flowers. Love your creation. Sending salutations from Montreal, Canada.
Hello, sweet friend. I agree. I really think that fresh greenery elevates those faux flowers. I just think it looks nice.
Miss Julie asks, where is this going to be displayed at the wedding? It's going to be so pretty.
It is going to go on the food table. It's just going to be a really pretty arrangement to go on the buffet table.
Miss Margaret Lynch says they don't have yard sales in Southern Ireland.
Isn't that interesting? Maybe it's a United States thing. So it's where a yard sale is, just where you gather some things that you want to sell, and you just go out and place all those things on tables, and you just have a big yard sale, and you sell it for most of the time it's very reasonable prices, very inexpensive, but you get rid of your things that you don't need anymore, and then people are able to purchase those. They're really fun. They're fun to go to. Okay, there is our Italian ruscus all the way around. Next, we are going to use a little bit of silver dollar eucalyptus. So this is silver dollar eucalyptus. Eucalyptus comes in dozens of varieties, lots of different varieties. And so the silver dollar variety is very rounded leaves. Really pretty. It does still have that really pretty fragrance of eucalyptus. So if you love the smell of eucalyptus, it does still have that beautiful fragrance. And so I'm just taking it and cutting it into small pieces and just tucking it right into that fresh floral foam.
Lily on YouTube asks, what is the price to rent this piece?
To rent this piece, I would say, I'm going to be real honest. this piece I am throwing in because we needed a food table. I would probably rent this piece for $140. But I am just doing this because number one, I wanted to design this arrangement. Number two, she did not order anything to go on that table, and this is just a friend of mine, and so I wanted to add flowers to that table, so that's the reason I'm doing this arrangement. That one is broken, isn't it? Thanks. Victoria's like, that stem's broken. Thanks.
Charlie Newberg says, hi ladies, this will be stunning. I'm so happy to catch you live.
So glad you're here, friend. Thank you for watching.
Amanda says, it is going to look like it belongs on a banquet table in an English castle.
I think it'll be beautiful.
Jerry Handley over on Facebook says, hey, this is Jerry from Birmingham, Alabama, and I do our flowers at church, and you are an inspiration to me because there's some Sundays that I just don't know what I'm going to do, and I have to just tell the Lord to use my hands.
That's right. There are days that I am the same, sweet friend. So I am just taking this eucalyptus and cutting it into tiny pieces and just tucking it right into that fresh floral foam.
Royal Ribbon on TikTok says, I have a wedding this month. I will be using all fresh flowers this time.
Ooh, that sounds so wonderful. What are the colors?
User 7423 says, I miss seeing the base. What does it look like?
It is just a candelabra. It has 4 arms. It's kind of hard for you to see, but it has 4 arms. Let's see if I can turn it this way. And I'm going to drip water, but it has 4 arms. And I just took fresh floral foam and tucked it on each of the little flat places and taped it on. And then I am going to just design flowers on each of those with those fresh floral foam.
Caitlin Day Prince on Facebook says, I'm just joining, but I've heard you are combining faux and fresh florals for this design. Does Flowers by the Bunch rent out faux florals to customers for events also, or were these faux purchased special for this arrangement?
We do rent out faux florals for special events, for weddings, and for any kind of party. We rent out, and we can go with most color schemes. And as we have different color schemes ordered, we will just order those colors. Does that make sense? So we have tons of white. For this wedding, we had to add a good bit of pink. And then, so as things are ordered, like for weddings and different events, we will add to our inventory of flowers so that we will have those colors on hand. Okay, so we have our greenery in place all the way around. Next we are going to come in, and I'm going to show you, I'm not going to keep it on there, but our candle is going to be lifted up kind of right there in the center to give you an idea of the candle. So I'm going to take some wire snips. I'm going to have to cut these flowers a little shorter. I don't know about the line flowers, so I'm going to throw those to the side for right now.
I got those just in case.
They're beautiful. These are just a blushy pink, pale pink, baby girl pink rose. I'm going to take and cut that stem a little bit. And we're just pressing those flowers right down into that floral foam. Now that's a little high because I don't want it to overtake that candle. I want that candle to show, so I'm going to move that flower.
Rhea says the best thing about doing so many different arrangements for the same wedding is you can have a photo catalog showing what is available for a wedding.
Honestly, Rhea, that was what was kind of exciting. So we were going to rent our 2 floral walls. That's exciting that we get to use both floral walls for this event. And then we have, if you saw yesterday, I was telling you we're going to do an arbor. And so we did, and honestly, the bride came in today, and she's afraid it's going to rain, which it has rained every day of the month of May and to June. And so they decided to move the wedding inside. And so we are going to do kind of 2 large pedestals on each side of the mantle. And if you watched me a couple of weeks ago, we worked on the mantle flowers. So it's kind of exciting. It's exciting to do different things. And she has been so good to just let me do what I wanted to, which is really fun. Because we've got some really pretty things. I'm so excited.
Cora Ribbon says the wedding that they're working on this month is only white and green.
Only white and green. It is hard to mess up white and green, isn't it? It's always beautiful, I think.
Christina asks, when is the wedding?
Saturday. This wedding is Saturday.
Pat Lawler asks, when is your surgery?
My surgery is next Wednesday on the 25th.
Amanda says that would be lovely for a Christmas design also.
Ooh, absolutely. We may have to do that closer to Christmas. I just thought this was a fun piece to make an arrangement with. You know me, if ever I am out and I am shopping, I am always looking for some type of container to design flowers with. Actually, Victoria and I made the arrangement, but Victoria pulled all the flowers and all of the colors in the container for me for an arrangement that I made in, I guess it was more of a soup tureen, would you say, Victoria? It is a China tureen where it's a round bowl with little handles and it has a pretty lid. And so I made an arrangement to put on YouTube. So Owen will get that up and going for our YouTube channel. But it was so pretty and so fun. And I purchased that, I think, at a thrift store. And I just like to find some type of container that holds water. If it holds water, it's holding flowers. So these are like little garden roses. So we purchase most of our flowers from here, there, and yonder. We don't necessarily have one place that we buy all our flowers from. And so most of these flowers that you've seen, the little cream roses, we actually purchased from Shein. The peonies, which are these pale pink. Let's see if I can turn that so you can see it. This one we got as a bush from David Christopher's. And then these roses, let's keep turning. These roses came from Amazon.
We have a few questions. Stacy Jane says, I'm thinking of doing rentals as well. Do you find it easier to keep a base of greens and cream/white florals made up as so, then come back and add colors later?
So with us, I don't have a whole lot of space in our flower shop. So I would almost consider us a studio. We are not a very large shop. I wish we were, but we aren't. And so for us, we take everything apart and put them in plastic bins. And so like for this arrangement, when it comes back to the shop, we'll pull all those flowers out. We'll separate them into their individual bins. Now we mix and match. So if we have creamy white colored flowers, we might have several different varieties of that kind of flower, or creamy colored flowers in that bin. But we will pull them all apart, and then when we have our next event, we will go and pull those bins. So you should see the floor in here. We've got 5-6 bins open so that we can just pull flowers out and add flowers to each of the arrangements that we're making. I think that is Owen. I heard the door and I was worried we didn't lock it. So for us, we do have lots of white, but that's what we started out with because that's what I rented first. And so every once in a while, I'll add more whites as we go, and then we'll add colors as we need them. So we did a beautiful, I will post some of our faux weddings over on Facebook so that you can see them. But we've done colorful, we've done whites and pinks, we've done all white, so lots of different things. But as I sell the wedding, so say I rented the wedding, I will purchase some extra flowers as I make a sale of a wedding. And that way, then I'm just able to add to our inventory. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? I think that does.
Tammy says, I'm a new floral designer. What advice would you give to help get wedding business? Thank you.
I will be honest. The reason I started making, adding the faux flowers to our business is because I had a hard time getting wedding business. A hard time because we have 4 other flower shops in our town, and everybody does weddings. Everybody does every day, everything. And so the reason I chose to do faux is nobody in our town is doing faux rentals. And I thought it's an opportunity that maybe someone would want to rent faux because they are a little less expensive than the fresh. You get more for your money, I feel like, when you rent faux. Because we can do huge fancy designs for way more reasonable prices than in fresh. And so that's the reason I kind of shifted gears a little bit, because I've had a hard time getting weddings. You need to post lots of pictures though. Constantly post on all of the social media platforms. I think that helps. But it's hard. And I have been in business, it'll be 20 years this year, and I still struggle with getting brides and weddings.
Miss Marianne asks, do you take pictures of all your beautiful faux designs to create a portfolio to show future customers?
I do, yes ma'am. I try to. And we try to do posts and different things on Facebook and different things like that. But yes, we take tons of pictures. So you can see I am just turning, I have a Lazy Susan here, and I am just turning this Lazy Susan and just adding flowers all the way around.
Maria says, I found some beautiful flowers on Etsy. Some are very expensive, but I've never been disappointed with anything I've bought.
Oh, that's wonderful, Rhea. I have never even thought about shopping for faux flowers over on Etsy. Now I have bought some of these, like this is, it's called a peony. It looks a little more like a ranunculus to me because it's small. Did we go dark? Sorry guys. I bought some of these on an app called Fair, where you can buy flowers wholesale. And I have been so pleased with those flowers. Now they don't have tons and tons to choose from, but what they do have are very quality.
Lily on YouTube says, with an arrangement on an altar or an arbor from a distance, who is going to know the flowers are faux? Really getting into the faux flowers faux arrangement since watching you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And I want you to know that I have, some florists are very against faux flowers. Like, why in the world would anybody want faux flowers? And a lot of it is, I am the same artist whether I am using fresh flowers versus faux flowers. It's just a different medium, right? But they're shaped all the same, except one is fresh and one is faux. And so for me personally, it's not that I want to be a faux florist. I am happy to use fresh blooms. I just want to offer a bride and a groom the opportunity to have fabulous flowers, but for a little bit more of a reasonable price. And so it's not that I am against one or the other. Honestly, I love both. And since doing this, I have really come to love faux flowers. You know, for a long time, I was like, oh, I don't even like faux flowers. But this really has given me a different outlook, I think.
Royal Ribbon on TikTok says, such a beautiful color. And Leslie, thank you for the follow on TikTok.
Thank you, friend. So glad you're here. I think I need a flower there.
Royal Ribbon also says, I see most people are wait, hold on. I see most people are liking videos of bouquets or arrangements of them. I guess a lot of people are really into flower videos currently. A few people are asking what is going to go in the middle of this.
We're going to put a candle there. So I'm going to see if I can't find a larger candle, but we're going to put a candle.
Will's Creation says, Monty, you're such an inspiration, always so kind and positive. You've inspired us to try offering faux flower rentals for events at our flower shop in our little rural Tennessee town.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm telling telling you, it's just a different avenue of revenue, right? I mean, we just have to keep on trucking and trying to, it's all about making a living and being able to take care of the customer. And that's what's the most important, is that you are doing a good job of taking care of your clients or your customers, and you're offering them a beautiful product. Now, I don't usually love to cut my stems off so short. I try to leave as much length on my stems of flowers as I possibly can. Now, here I am having to cut these flowers a little shorter, but it's worth it to make this beautiful design.
Miss Margaret Lynch wants to know if you might have a bigger candle.
I'm going to purchase one, Miss Margaret. I am going to see if I can't find a larger candle because I think it would be fabulous if I had something larger. I could even use a large glass cylinder and put a floating candle in there. But I'm going to try to find a larger candle. I just found something so that you could visualize what I was talking about when it came to a candle.
Miss Marlene says hello from Gonzales, Louisiana.
Hello.
She says, thanks for sharing your beautiful work with us.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you for being here.
Maria says, faux flowers have come a long way. I remember an elderly auntie washing hers with a hose in the garden.
Now, I can tell you when I first began in the floral business, and I was new to having my own flower shop. I had this little lady come, and I tell you, I think a lot of my problem with faux flowers too is when people have faux flower arrangements in their home, they keep them far too long. I don't know if y'all have come into contact with that, but this little lady had this faux arrangement, and it was so dusty. But she wanted us to clean it and put it back together for her. And so that might have been one of the worst experiences I have ever had. And I thought, oh, why would anybody want faux arrangements? Why would you want a faux arrangement just to gather dust? And I will say the difference in this type of arrangement versus an arrangement that sits in someone's home for 25 years is the fact that these all come apart and they're redesigned as we go. So with each order, we will redesign them and make something new and something beautiful. But yes, I did not have an appreciation of faux flowers strictly because of that exact thing, is because people would keep them far too long.
Maria asks hurricane jar candle.
Yes, that might be beautiful.
Miss Jane says if you could put a glass globe with a candle inside, that would be pretty gorgeous.
Oh, it would. I'm gonna have to. We'll have to play with it.
Miss Cheryl from Michigan says, absolutely beautiful, Monty. You have outdone yourself.
Isn't it beautiful though? Oh, it's so pretty. And you know, I am really not a pink girl, but this pink is pretty. It is so pretty. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to add fresh baby's breath. So that was in all the pictures that the bride provided was fresh baby's breath were in those arrangements. So we are going to take, now the reason, let me explain the reason for fresh baby's breath versus faux. So faux baby's breath comes to like a tiny little piece. I think I have a piece over here. Oh, I do, look. So faux baby's breath comes like this. It's a tiny, tiny little piece. Well, fresh baby's breath comes really fluffy and really large. So it's hard to get faux baby's breath to look like fresh. Fresh goes a really long way. And so I knew that if I purchased fresh, I could really make a statement with that fresh baby's breath. So that's my reasoning. I would have to buy tons of faux baby's breath to get anything to look like this, right? It's kind of the same with my greenery. I have a hard time spending And I would say you would probably spend thousands of dollars on getting enough greenery to make these arrangements full enough. And so that's why I find that it's easier for me to use fresh greenery, because I can make it go so much further than faux. And faux looks faux when you get into greenery and baby's breath.
Trish on TikTok says, we were at a wedding where they spent so much for the fresh flowers they could have put down a down payment on a house. Then what do you even do with them afterwards?
They usually go in the trash unless you have someone come and pick them up and give them away. And so yes, they tend to be waste. And that's so sad. It's so sad because people after their weddings don't care anything about those flowers. I mean, they're ready to go on the honeymoon or what have you. And so I do like the sustainable part of using faux flowers.
Chris Clary Jonas says, you design with such ease, grace, and confidence. This is gorgeous, Monty.
Thank you, friend. Thank you for being here.
James says, I absolutely love the color of the flowers. It's very elegant.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
When you're discussing, I think, faux flowers in the home, Caitlin asks, what are your recommendations to keep faux florals looking fresh?
It's hard. Faux flowers are just going to be hard. You don't need to, I don't really know how to keep those faux flowers looking fresh. I do use some faux flowers in my home. Not tons and tons, but some. But I change mine out with the season. So I dust them real good and then put them away. So I don't have like home decor types of silks. I usually go seasonal. So like in the spring, I love to use forsythia, like forsythia branches in vases, just to give me some whimsy and pretty color, because my color is so yellow. I love yellow, so it makes me happy. And then, so for the patriotic season, I did a faux arrangement in red, white, and blue. Just kind of fun and different. But I never keep a flower arrangement in the same place for years, right? And so I think it's all in moving and dusting, is because things get really dusty.
Eileen Ogden says, this is looking lovely and you have a decent pair of wire snips. Very important.
Very important. It is. Yes, ma'am.
Miss D says, Monty, that pink and white wedding creation is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Miss D.
Amanda says, some crystal droppers would be lovely too.
Ooh, that would be so pretty.
Janie Bradley says, my grandmother was an expert gardener and she loved all flowers. When I was a little girl in the early 60s, faux flowers were plastic and waxy looking.
Yes.
She says her grandmother told her if she put flowers on her grave after she was gone, she would come out of the grave and spit in her eye.
Oh!
She says, needless to say, for many years there were no faux flowers on her grave. However, now that both flowers are so beautiful, I do decorate her grave with them and whisper an apology. I think she'd understand. LOL.
I think that she would be impressed, though, with how flowers look now. You know, because I agree. When I first started in the floral business years ago, and I said this yesterday on the live, that I worked for this little older lady, and she had some of those hard plastic flowers in her flower shop, and she would use them for sympathy work and for cemetery type flowers. And I thought to myself, I will never use that in my flower shop. Well, they've come a long way.
Ruby Wright asks, will the baby's breath stay fresh?
It will. So what we're going to do with this arrangement, it's going right in our cooler. I used fresh floral foam to arrange this arrangement. So to design the arrangement, I use fresh floral foam that's been wet. I am going to tuck this right into our cooler. We'll just put it on one of the shelves in the cooler. And so yes, they will stay fresh and pretty until time for us to deliver. That's the wonderful thing about greenery and baby's breath, is they're both very hardy and long lasting. So they will stay in a cool space, and then we will deliver for the wedding on Saturday.
They're saying it's beautiful. have a few more questions. Let's see. Stacy Jane asks, when mixing faux and fresh, what is the best foam to use? I'm not a huge fan of the super soft foam, but I'm guessing it's the best.
Well, the reason I like the fresh floral foam is because it does hold water, and it is going to keep all of my foliage fresh. And so that's the reason I like to use it. Now, when designing, I have actually, for this wedding, I have designed in hard styrofoam. I have designed in pool noodles. I used pool noodles as my foam base. My problem, though, when using both of those types of foam is that when you go to add your fresh foliage and your fresh baby's breath, it's not going to help keep those products fresh. Now, again, they are fine out of water for a short period of time. Eucalyptus, not so happy out of water. And so the eucalyptus will stay just as pretty as I just put it in today for our wedding on Saturday. We will have no problem with it wilting because it will stay cool, it will stay wet, and we shouldn't have any issues. So for me personally, if I am mixing the two mediums, the fresh and the faux, I like to use fresh floral foam. I do follow this girl over on TikTok, and I cannot remember her name. She is a faux wedding designer out of, I think, Nevada. I think Las Vegas, Nevada. She uses fresh floral foam, but she doesn't soak it. She uses the foam cages, and she attaches them to her arbors and attaches them to different things, which is really interesting. She does not use, but she doesn't wet it. She uses faux everything. Her greenery is faux, her baby's breath is faux. Everything that she uses is artificial. And so, but she does use the soft, fresh floral foam as her base, which is interesting.
Dennis says to clean silks, put it in a cool clothes dryer and toss.
Awesome. Never even thought about that. Thank you for that tip.
Miss Margaret Lynch says, wouldn't it be interesting to know how much this wedding would cost in fresh flowers?
That would be neat, Miss Margaret, to do a post on the comparison. After I get all the pictures, I'll take lots of pictures, and I could certainly do a comparison to kind of see.
Joey Loris, thank you for the follow on TikTok.
Thank you, friend. Thank you for following.
Royal Ribbon says it's very elegant. I love it so much.
Oh, thank you.
Charlie says it's absolutely beautiful. I'm preparing flowers for my daughter's wedding. What flowers would you use with magnolia?
Magnolia greenery, is that what you're talking about? Gosh, you could use really anything. I love the dark green of magnolia. I think it's so lovely. You can really use anything. What are her wedding colors? And with us, we really are not picky about the flower type. So this bride, she did send me lots of pictures of roses. Like her bridal bouquet, it's going to be in fresh roses with gold brooches. And I will do that for a video this week. All of her flowers to wear and to carry are fresh flowers. All of her ceremony flowers and her reception flowers are all faux. So we are not picky about the flower type. We were just trying to get the flower color, and of course we wanted just a romantic pinks and whites. And so that's the reason we chose, a lot of roses, but roses aren't necessary.
It is pretty. Rhea asks, does the lady use glue with her dry foam?
She does not use glue because, again, she's just like me. She's going to rent them. So she's going to pull them apart and design them again. So she does not use any glue, Rhea. So she designs them, she delivers them, she goes back and picks them up. I actually follow two different florists. One is out of Canada. World of Faux is out of Canada. And she does, magnificent designs. That's where I got I started following her, and I decided that was something that I thought we might need to do, because her designs are amazing, over the top beautiful.
Our yellow box is going to die soon, but I have two more questions.
Okay, two more questions.
Well, Charlie says that it's for a November wedding with the magnolia.
Okay, and so I would go with a color scheme. Figure out what her colors are. Go with a color scheme. You are going to find softer colors tend to look like they're real flowers versus lots of bold colors. Look for flowers that look more real. Try not to get too cemetery grade flowers. You will see me use a lot of, like these peonies, that would be considered a cemetery grade. It was a bush. We use hydrangeas. Go with a color scheme. Pick that color scheme and then start picking out florals. Guys, do me a great big favor. If you are enjoying this video,